Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say thank you for coming to our presentation. It's great to see you all. My name is Siran Zuliardana, and let me introduce my partner. My partner is Muhammad Alfarizi Maulana Suhanda and Arif Hamzah Ramadendi. So, in this opportunity, I would like to present about I/O system in Macintosh operating system. Firstly, I would like to explain about what is I/O system in general. And thirdly, I/O system and Macintosh OS. And finally, about the more specific what is an I/O system. So, without any further ado, let's do this.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, I will present about I/O system in Macintosh. Okay, this is introduction. The background of Macintosh is the Macintosh operating system, or macOS is an operating system designed by Apple Inc. to be installed and operated on the Apple Macintosh series of computer. Introduced in 1684, it is graphical user interface or GUI-based OS that has since been released as multiple different versions. Initially, macOS was known as system software. The operating system is a program that monitors and regulates the use of computer resources, which is the user or user with computer hardware. Which in the operating system has components that play a role in it. One of the components in it is next basic theory. First, the first is general description of a system software for running a computer. Its function is to manage computer memory and running process on the computer, as well as all software and hardware. Thus, user can interact with computer. Without an operating system, the computer will not run except for the booting program. The operating system is in charge of managing all software and hardware on the computer. At one time, user run some software at once on a computer, and the sum of the software requires access to the memory and storage media. The operating system manages this process that makes software normally and interact with the system. In computing, input or output is the communication between an information processing system, such as a computer, and the outside world, possibly a human or another information processing system. Inputs are the signal or data received by the system, and outputs are the signal or data sent from it. Systems can also be used as part of an action. To perform I/O is to perform an input or output operation. I/O devices are the pieces of hardware used by humans or other systems to communicate with a computer. For instance, a keyboard or computer mouse is an input device for a computer, while and monitor and printers are output device for communication between computers such as modems and network cards typically perform both input and output operation. It is from me, and then the presentation will next with Avanti. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emma Florisi from Group Sec. I will continue about my first presentation, and this in chapter 3, and in this chapter 3 problem analysis. And in this chapter, problem analysis consists of a I/O system hardware, and I/O system software. Next. In this first I/O system, I/O system is pivotal in computing input or output, or I/O, or is the communication between an information processing system, such as a computer, and the outside world, possibly a human or another information processing system. And this I/O system hardware. And what is I/O system hardware? I/O system hardware is one of the important jobs of an operating system is to manage devices including mouse, keyboards, touchpad, disk drive, and etc. And this consists of I/O systems hardware. And this device controller devices are software modules that can be plugged into an OS to handle a particular device. Operating system takes help from device driver to handle all I/O device and that communication to I/O device. The CPU must have a way to pass information to and from an I/O device. There are three approaches available to communicate with the CPU and device, and there is three consists of communication I/O device: serial execution I/O, memory I/O, direct memory access or DMA. After that, special instruction I/O. This uses CPU instructions that are specifically meant for controlling a device. These instructions typically allow data to be sent to an I/O device or read from an I/O device. Next, this memory map I/O. When using memory map I/O, the same address space is shared by memory and I/O device. The device is connected directly to certain main memory locations so that a device can transfer block data of data to or from memory without going through the CPU. Next, the direct memory access DMA. Slow devices like keyboards will generate an interrupt to the main CPU after each byte is transferred. Direct memory access or DMA means CPU grants a module authority to read from or write to memory without involvement. Direct memory access or DMA means CPU grants a module authority to read from or write to memory without involvement. Polling versus interrupt I/O. A computer must have a way of detecting a result of any type of input. There are two ways that this can happen, known as polling and interrupts. And first, polling I/O. Polling is the simplest way for I/O device to communicate with the processor. And second, interrupts I/O. An alternative scheme for dealing with I/O is the interrupt-driven method. An interrupt is a signal to the microprocessor from a device that requires attention. And this I/O system software. In I/O system software is often organized in the following layers and use one user level libraries, two kernel level modules, and three hardware. And this in I/O system software consists of device driver. What is this driver? Device drivers are software modules that can be plugged into an OS to handle a particular device. And next, interrupt handlers. An interrupt handler, also known as an interrupt service routine or ISR, is a piece of software, or more specifically. After that, device independent I/O software. The basic function of the device independent software is to perform the I/O functions that are common to all devices and to provide a uniform interface to the user level software. Next, user space I/O software. These are the libraries which provide richer and simpler interface to access the functionality of the kernel or ultimately interactive with the device driver. And last, kernel I/O subsystem. There's a scheduling kernel schedule or buffering, kernel I/O subsystem maintenance in memory caching, kernel maintains cache memory, spooling and default reservation, error handling, and operating system that use protected memory can guard. And presentation will be continued with my friend Yudhistira. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ariel Devanta and Muhammad Al-Farzi Maulana. And now I will explain about the conclusion about our ISAS. So our conclusion is, in general, I/O devices are divided into block devices, devices that store information in the form of certain size blocks, and each block has its own address. Character device is a device that sends or receives a line of characters regardless of the block structure. And I/O unit consists of two components, namely mechanical components that are mechanical component device themselves, such as mouse, screen, keyboard, and others. Electronic components called I/O management device controller have functions including sending commands to I/O devices to provide service, handle I/O equipment interruption, handle I/O equipment errors, and provide interface to user. Now, suggestion from my group is the I/O module is the interface equipment for the bus system of central switch and controls for one or more peripheral devices. The I/O module is the component of a computer system responsible for the exchange of data between such external devices with primary memory or with CPU register. There are three techniques in I/O operation, namely programmable I/O, inter I/O driven I/O, and DMA or direct memory access. All three have advantage and disadvantage, whose use is adjusted according to the performance of each technique. The function of I/O module is to manage and control all forms of output-input activities carried out in computer. In the control system, the I/O module regulates and distinguishes which data is first or which data is more important and which is not. And thank you for your attention. So thank you and